Let's talk about your role as a director of a festival. And so this is your second year doing this festival, but the first year that you've done it from the beginning. Last year kind of came in the middle. What like percentage, if we were gonna throw your job into a pie of responsibility, which is really gross flavor pie. But what percentage of this is like planning, the programming, the administrating, and then like the fundraising?
Yeah. Well, it's a good question because I think it's going to shift in a sense, because with this festival, it really came up from the ground, which is another amazing thing about it.
About like 6 years ago?
Yeah, this is the 7th year. So 6 years ago, some community members from the Hyde Park Jazz Society went to the university and said, let's, we have an idea for a festival, and the university loved it, so they started supporting it. So it really bubbled up from the ground. So they went on about their way for five years, just kind of, throwing it together, and all these...
Kind of haphazardly.
Well, I mean, they did an incredible job. I mean, highly professional work for people who are community members and not professional producers or whatever.
Right.
But after 5 years, I think they started scratching their head saying, oh my God, this thing is just...
It's growing larger than
morphing more than we...
Yeah.
And then not only that, but they didn't have the capacity to think through it as a business model and how it was working economically in a way that would allow them to think through sustainability. They got a pot of money, they did the festival, it was over. They got another pot of money, they did the festival's over, Anyway, this year, the Hyde Park Jazz Festival got its own 501c3, so it's now its own nonprofit, which is it's quite different than it's been in the past. So to answer your question...
Oh, so this wasn't really, it was just...
It was just a program of another organization in the past. So, for example, one simple thing that's actually a huge part of my thinking all the time is, in the past, it functioned like a program. So what you do with a program is you have a pot of money and you draw it all the way down to zero, right? Because otherwise, that's how much, otherwise you don't get the money again.
Exactly.
But when you have an organization, you don't want to do that.
No.
So
nonprofit doesn't mean let's not make some profit.
Well, it also doesn't mean, you don't have a bank account with a few bucks in there in case it rains.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we've had to think through really revising the ways in which we think through the money in the organization. We have to have an office now. We have a lot of administrative costs that they didn't have before, accounting and whatnot.